What's going on today, guys? Today I'm going to be showcasing my undefeated locals mouse deck profile, and yeah, let's hop right into it. Starting off, playing, of course, 3 mouse. Oh, sorry, 3 mouse, and then 3 white binder, or rabbit, I mean. Um, mouse, just kind of the best one. Lets you normal summon, banish white rabbit set trap, banish the mouse, and just infinite bodies. So yeah. And then, I mean, White Rabbit's really good too. It's the one that lets you set the traps from deck, and it can help you play around Nib depending on what trap you set, and or just the following turn, or anything like that. All right, moving on. People like to play 1 or 2 of the Chessy Cat. I'm playing 3 just because like we're so limited on names and what we can get to the names. I mean, I don't really like sign up mining, so I'm not playing it. So I decided to max out on the names because I am playing Allure as well. So I decided to go with 3 Chessy Cat because I'm also in the Sky Striker stuff. So Engage gets us 2 bodies on board, and then if we normal summon this, then that's a free Link 3. So I just really thought it was good, and not only that, but it's also a draw 2. Moving on, 1 GWC. Yes, I need a super of it, but this is the Rune Board spell. Absolutely broken. You always want on your end board to bring back like a Cryptor or your white binder to banish from either graveyard or anything like that. TB11 lets you special from deck or from at your deck, but I don't really like that effect. And then Maliss lets you add a hand and non-target banish on field if you control a link. Moving on. We are playing 1, 2, 3, and terraforming to make 4 of the field spell. Just along with all the names and everything. I mean, the Maliss, engine itself is relatively small. I think all the cards together, you're looking at like 15. So you have 3 Dormouse, 3 White Rabbit, 3 Chessy Cat, and then 3 Field Spell to make 12. So 12, 14, and then you have the traps, but they don't really count. So this gives you just a bunch of ways to get to names, and or this can be extender to banish your link monsters if you get nibbed. And yeah. I decided to play terraforming because I am playing thrust, so like it can help me get back into engine. Moving on, to go with the Chessy Cats and whatnot, and the Engage. Lure Darkness just allows you to have a bunch of draw power, and along with the extender, Gold Sark. I thought this would come back to 2, but it stayed at 1, but I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, it's just a really good card. You either banish any Malice name and or a Dotscaper or something, just to keep the bodies rolling on the field. And of course, we are playing the 1 Dotscaper to go with the combo for Red Ransom. And that's like another thing too with like terraforming and the field spells is like, even though you can't search it with Red Ransom, you can still terraforming, grab a field spell, and then your Chessy Cat can, banish the extra field spell copy you have in your hand, and then draw 2 cards. So that just helps out a lot. Moving on to the secondary engine, we are playing a little Sky Striker engine here. So triple engage. I opened this card like almost every game. It was absolutely broken. It just helps you either break apart your opponent's board, or it helps you set up enough monsters just so like they can't do enough, or it baits hand traps, and like that's all you need it to do is just like bait something and or interact with something to stop it. So we're playing the 1 Hornet Drone just for bodies, and the 1 Widow Anchor just to turn off like problem cards like High Wave King Caesar, or of course Detonator. So yeah, this card was absolutely broken every time I saw it. It also gives you draw power, so like I played a couple other spells, so you can like allure, you can get into this, you can make like a link 1 so that way you can activate it, and then yeah, it was busted. And like I said, it's draw power, it's an out for like Chaos Angel for when they make that's searchable kind of. So it's kind of like a little engine inside of our deck that just like helps facilitate like beating out hand traps or interactions, so then we just kill them with mouse cards. I did have 3 of the original art, but I gave my brother one a long time ago, and I ended up finding that I had a alt art. But yeah, moving on. This deck is 42, but that's because I decided to last second add the 3rd Chessy Cat and an extra Druid Swarm. And here you're going to see I am on Mag and then double Druid Swarm. Druid Swarm has been busted this format for me so far. Just being able to summon it, and then, I mean, they have to out it in a certain way, like by banishing it or something like that, or outing it while they don't have a monster on the board, or just some way they can out it, where it doesn't go to grave and just like out like the detonator or any other monster like that it can be problematic with. So I'd almost want to say I want to cut the Mag, because you special summon Mag, activate its effect, then they just chain to destroy it or hand trap it or something. But if it was just like the 3rd Druid Swarm, it could just like be sticking to the field, you know? So that's the only kind of thing I have about that. But at the same time, being able to maybe have 2 Bystials on the board, because those searches in the end phase is kind of really good too. I mean, in the end phase, you can Mag, say you hit an Engraver, and then this can hit the Lacrima in the end phase or something. That's still also really good. But yeah, I didn't hate it. In the future, I might try the 3rd Mag, but I definitely liked having 2 Dros in my deck. Moving on, I was on 3 Thrust, but I started playing a bunch of 2-elves because I decided I just really want some Charmers in my deck, because I played locals and there was 18 people there, the locals prior, so I was, and literally it was a 50-50 split between like Razzle, Fiendsmith, and Maliss, and I just didn't know what to expect going into my Nets locals, so I just decided to play a bunch of like 2-elves, like an OCG kind of style, so that way like I can draw into, you know, cards good for both matchups or one of the matchups. But I decided to pair, you know, of course, 1 talents, but this thrust also can get you the terraforming or the gold sark or the engage, or, you know, just another engine piece to help you out the opponent's field. Moving on, like I said, I'm playing weird 2-elves, so I decided to play 2 Book of Eclipse for all the Bystial players. It's not the best in a Malice, but you can hit them in a way where they can't use them to link. The only thing I don't like about Book of Eclipse is, like, A, it's ashable, and the Bystial players are all playing so many hand traps. And B, it just lets your opponent draws cards, so I much would rather use it when I know I can maybe OTK my opponent versus using it as a protection card. Moving on to Chalice. I wanted Chalice because I just felt like it was good into the Detonator and or the Malice matchup. And I know it's not as fast as Imperm, which I am playing Imperm, but just its ability to be able to negate, I just felt like was so much better. And this did come up because I had a Chaos Hunter dropped on me. So you can just use Forbidden Chalice, negate like a Chaos Hunter, and then you can keep playing. And or like any other floodgates, this could possibly hit as well. Like maybe like a, shoot, I don't know, a Thunder Dragon or something, since that's back at 3. But yeah. Moving forward, I'd probably side the Book of Eclipses, so I'd just take these out, put these on my side, play the 3rd Chalice, and then, yeah, make the deck like 41. I am playing 42 because I did have the 3rd Chessy Cat and the 2nd Druid Swarm, so that kind of upped my deck, but I just didn't know what to take out at that time. But yeah, I'd probably take these out, put in the 3rd Chalice, and then side these. Alright, moving on. Like I said, I have a bunch of weird 2-elves in this deck. Double Fuvaros, if I can find the other one, and double Perulia. So in theory here is, like I said, my locals was on 50% Bystial and 50% Malice. So I was trying to play as close as to 40 as possible. So I decided, well, screw it. I'm going to play 2 Fuvaros for the Maliss / Ryziel matchup, because, I mean, it can hit the Fainsmith cards that people play in Ryziel. And then Purlia is also just, like, generically good because the normal summon I'm drawing at least a card, so it replaces itself. Plus, it's good into the Ryziel matchup because it keeps specialing from hand, and or the random Kashtira matchups. So, yeah, I decided to play 2 of each. Like I said, I'm playing a bunch of 2-woods for some reason. But at the same time, I felt as though when I draw one of these, I draw into like multiple different like of my engine flets, my non-engine. So like I'll draw like 1 Book Eclipse and then like a Chalice or something off of these, and then I just break the board, or I draw into like the Engage or the Allure. Just because like I have so many different cards in my deck, or I draw into the Nuts Charmy and then I just activate that right away. And it actually ended up working really well having 2 of each in the main deck. And yeah, like I can't tell you how many times I would Purlia, they would normal summon, and then like I'd get Fuvaros off the top. Like it was absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, honestly, 2 and 2 in the main deck worked really good for me personally. Moving on, playing 3 Imperm. It's kind of like Chalice, but it's faster because I can use it on my opponent's turn, which is, of course, why I played it. And I also side Impulse, so this goes well with that as well. Alright, and that wraps up the main deck. It's 42. Like I said, I'd probably cut the 2 Book of Eclipses in the main, play the Chalice, play 1 Chalice, and then play 41. Yeah, that's all I can really say about my main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. For Link 1s, we have Link Decoder, Link 1 and its Thunder, Lingaribo, Trap Negate. This came up because I made Access Code, or I made this, and then I made Access Code, and Access Code to gain attack, and then I proceeded to go to battle, and then they try to imperm my Access Code just because, you know, it's like 5300 or whatever, and I was going to banish stuff in the main phase and all that, but anyways, you get it. This negated the imperm, and then, yeah, my Access Code was able to just stay big and beat over their field. Lane Spider, just in case we get nibbed. This is also good just because it turns even the Sky Striker token into a Link 1 with a down arrow that's a Cyberse, so that works out for that as well. And then the last Link 1, we have Kagari, just to go with the Sky Striker Hornets. And then, yeah, like I said, Hornets, token into Kagari, Kagari add back Hornets, and then, yeah, you have 2 bodies on the field right there. And it's just free. I must say, you have to be careful though, because this Link arrow is kind of ass. Alright, moving on. For the Link 2s, we're playing Splash Mage, Haggard Lizard, and Little Knight. Haggard Lizard as combo, it's one you want to use first. It banishes for cost, so that means you're always getting at least your body back off of it, and it doesn't lock you or anything. Versus Splash Mage will lock you, and then the monster win back is also negated from grave. So I try to make this either on like my follow-up turn, or if I just got like super hand trapped and I just need to try and push for a board. And then Little Knight, just because, I mean, Little Knight's busted. You can banish like your own Link in the graveyard, special it back, and then it gives you back your Link arrows in the middle of the zones and whatnot. It's also interruption versus your opponent, you know, banish 2 cards, and it can be follow-up as well. So that's it for the Link 2s. Link 3s, we have Heart's Cryptor, White Binder, and Red Ransom. This one's just the OTK machine and a banish effect. This allows you to just go for a game like he can have Access Code and he can get into this. Like, you're just winning because, I mean, this doubles its attack when it's banished, so you can go like Access Code, punch for 53, punch for like 25 or whatever, 31, which theoretically would be enough, but you could just activate its effect, banish itself, it can't be negated because it's pointing towards a monster, bring it back and it's 56, so you just punch them in the face for over 10k. And then White Binder, probably the best one of the extra deck, and I did play against a cache Fiendsmith, and they always ripped Whitebinder, but I was still able to just OTK using Hearts of Cryptor and Etsis Code, so it didn't really matter that much. Because I also had Red Ransom just to keep getting me extra bodies by banishing like the Dotscaper from deck and adding the field spell to banish itself after I link it off for like the Atsis code and everything. So yeah, overall, Mouse Link monsters are just busted, and especially Whitebinder just because like the follow-up it can give you is just insane, and of course it also gets you a second trap. Alright, moving on to our Link 4s. We have Atsis Code Talker and Firewall. Atsis Code, OTK Machine / Extender, just because you can banish, your Mouse Link monsters in the graveyard and they just come back. And then they activate their effects to either draw and all that stuff and banish from deck and everything, or double attack. So that worked out really well. And then we have Firewall Dragon. I actually would end on this card a lot. I know a lot of people just try to end for like Terahertz pass, but I just felt like the Firewall was so good with it, like its double bounce, and I'm not playing the most hand trapped, so I can't really add anything back off it anyways. But usually my inboard would be like Terahertz up top with the Firewall below it. And so I already have a bounce set up, or I'd have it like next to it, and I would have the Firewall in the middle. So I'd have like a Terahertz here. And I would just do GW, bring back the Whitebinder, put it here, and then have like a double bounce, so then I'll set another trap and everything. But I really ended up liking Firewall, and it can be a little bad into the Fiendsmith cards, so you just gotta be careful not to put the engraver in their hand if they already or they haven't activated the effect to already search that turn or anything like that. So that's one thing to make sure about. But yeah, I thought the Firewall was broken. Moving on, the Link 5. Tempest Terahertz. I mean, it lets you dump from deck or extra deck, so it's already pretty busted in that aspect. And like I said, I was ending on like Firewall nuts to this just to help bounce and everything. So yeah. And it just gets really big. It's an OTK machine. I think I attack like each of your opponent's monsters once each or something. And then the cards we send off of Terahertz, Adjugator and Cyrus, what is that? Devious Worm. End phase, I'm always sending this off of the Terahertz. This card's busted. It just negates for free. And yeah. Adjugator, however, I almost never sent this card, and I almost never had like an interaction other than just Fiendsmith Engraver attach and have the Link monster attached to it. That's when I would have to use this, but like it just always just felt so bad because my board would be literally like Terahertz, Firewall, Whitebinder, and a Red Ransom with a like White Rabbit over here. So I'd always have this end board, and I've already had this in like Grave and Banished and everything, and I just never end up in a situation where I want to send this to graveyard. And since I have 5 monsters on board, I just wish I played Codicil. Like almost every game I ended, I was just like, bro, if I just had Codicil and a Cryptor, like it would have just been 30 times better just because of the removal. Like I never really needed the negate. I just wanted like the removal. So I do side the pack bit for an ultimate slayer target. So I'd probably replace this with the pack bit, or I'd even put in like Typhon or something just to be able to, have a better interaction. But yeah, I really didn't like Aggregator in this deck, and I almost never, well, I put in Ultimate Slayer, but like it just never felt good putting in versus like the Book of Eclipses and stuff, so I just really feel like there was no point in having this in my extra deck. So I'd probably take this out for like Typhon or something. And that runs up the extra deck. But yeah, I can't tell you how many games I played, and I just sat there wishing I had Typhon in my extra deck. Packbit. This goes with Ultimate Slayer that I am playing. I'll just go ahead and show it now. Just so when you go against those Centurion players or the Chaos Angels or anything, Slayer can just out the Synchro as well. But like I was saying, I think I'll just take out Adjugator, put this in my main deck, and honestly, I know Slayer's a really good card. I just didn't care for it that much. My Chalices and my Bigfoot Eclipses were able to handle any board perfectly fine. So I feel like I just didn't need that. Plus it's like chainable to like any effects they try to do or anything like that. So yeah, theoretically, I mean, it does just out Adjugator, but so do the other two cards. So I can just cut these, play the 3 Book of Eclipses in the side, put the another Chalice in the main, lower my deck count, and I'm just off in a better spot if you ask me. Alright, moving on. And the reason why I want Packbit over Adjugator in my deck is just because being able to just put the body in the back row so they can't use it anymore just feels a lot better than negating a card that doesn't really matter that much anyways, but just because they're forcing it. So that's why I like that. Moving on, we are playing 1D Barrier, 1 Sanctum. Just targets to set off a thrust. D-Barrier will, shut off the Ryzeal matchup because they can't seize anymore. And then Sanctum for the mirror match so I can Lancia my opponent. I am playing 2 Lancia, so if I did cut the Ultimate Slayer and the Packbit from my extra deck, I'd be able to fit the 3rd Lancia. And yeah, it just would help the mirror a lot more too. Moving on. Playing 1 Called By. This is just the hit Lancia. It did win me a game because I literally called by Lancia. And yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it. It's just to help protect yourself. I'm playing 3 Impulse on my side. I didn't want it in the main just because, like I said, my locals was literally 50% Ryzeal and 50% Malice. And of course, this is really good in Malice, but it's also just really bad in Ryzeal at the same time. So I felt like it was just best to side it. And like, depending on the matchup, if I go first, then I always end up with a trap in graveyard, like TB11 or something. So this just helps, negate destroy. And yeah, Impulse is just one of the best cards ever printed, and you can play it. It only turns off your Dotscaper, so if you're going second, you usually set that out anyways. And it turns off like Firewall or something, so it just really doesn't matter. And then the last card we're siding is Triple Shifter. It is good into a lot of matchups, and I mean, against like Ryzeal Fiendsmith, you just shifter them, turns out their Fiendsmith combo, and half the time that's the only thing they open. They either open that or just Ryzeal combo, if you ask me. So Shifter just completely shuts down half of that deck, and then worst case they just end on a detonator, and like I said, you just chalice that, and you're golden. Yeah, I ended up playing against Musketeer Fiendsmith, won that. I played against Cash Fiendsmith, won that. Like I said, I went undefeated. I played against another Fiendsmith deck. It might have been like Pier, but they had some like Primate cards or something in there or something. I don't know, it was weird. But yeah, then I ended up beating Ryzeal Fiendsmith. And yeah, that's the deck profile. And yeah, I just really wish I played Codicil or something in my main deck as well. I take out Slayer, put Bigfoot Eclipse on the side, and yeah, that's really all I have for you guys. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.